Good day everyone. Welcome to our week 3 class for Purposive Communication. Once again, I'm your instructor Shalel Bilianes. In this video, I'll be discussing with you the different varieties of English and the different language adjusters. So, let's get this started. So, what is variety? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, variety means the quality or state of having different forms or types. Now, do you think English has different types and forms? Consider this one. English is our global language. In 2021, for example, Msmigira of Statistica.com stated that there were around 1.35 billion people worldwide who spoke English either natively or as a second language. In view of these statistics, many consider the English language to be a world language. Since the English language has become so widespread, it is no surprise that different varieties of English has arisen. So, yes, English has different types and forms. The oldest variety of English is British English, spoken in the United Kingdom. Approximately 60 million people are native British English speakers. The variety of English with the largest number of native speakers is American English, with 225 million native speakers. The other major varieties of English are Canadian English, Australian English, New Zealand English, South African English, and Indian English. All varieties of English share the same basic rules of the language, but certain words, phrases, or linguistic constructs may differ. For instance, in British English, one says, "I'm going to hospital." In American English, one says, "I'm going to the hospital." In British English, one may say he's going to the cinema. In American English, one says he's going to the movies. And in South African English, one says he's going to the BIOSCOPE. With all those things in mind, it is undoubtedly true that varieties of English exist, and it is also known as World Englishes. Now, to help us understand more about it, there is a notable linguist named Braj Katru who introduced the famous 3 concentric circles of Asian English. So, as you can see here in the picture, there are 3 circles. The first circle is called the inner circle. The countries such as USA, Australia, Canada, UK, and New Zealand are considered to be the inner circle because they use English as their native language. While countries such as Bangladesh, Ghana, India, Kenya, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan, Philippines, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Tanzania, and Zambia, these countries use English as their second language, and they belong to the outer circle. Lastly, there's what we call as the expanding circle, which listed countries that use English as a foreign language. These countries are China, Indonesia, Korea, South Africa, Caribbean countries, Israel, Nepal, South America, Egypt, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Zimbabwe, and other Commonwealth independent states. Alright, so again, if you have noticed, these countries could have varieties of English that are somehow only distinct in their own countries. Now, we have to understand that the type of English that is spoken in each country is influenced by their own local language. That is why we should not be surprised that there are words that we think are English, but actually is not considered as internationally accepted English word. There are also words that mean differently in a certain country. And of course, do not be surprised when the accent is different in a certain country as well. Let us have more examples of those. Of course, we have our own country first, Philippines. In the Philippines, the word deep can mean I really cannot relate to him when he talks because he is so deep. You see, the word deep here means that the person being referred to is so hard to understand. That doesn't mean that that person is as deep as the ocean, right? Another example. Don't talk to mom right now because she is high blood. Alright, calm down. His mom is not having a high blood pressure. It just only means that his mom is probably tensed or upset. Another example is the famous balikbayan box. In the Philippines, this refers to any box where Filipinos, especially OFWs returning from abroad, put all their shopping. Now, if you have noticed, this term is only in the Philippines. If you go to other countries and if you wouldn't ask them about balikbayan box, obviously they will not understand you. Lastly, the word salvage. In other countries, the word salvage is a positive word, which means to save. But in the Philippines, it is something horrible because it means extrajudicial killing or killings of criminals, and the perpetrators are usually cops, crime syndicates, urban vigilantes, or communist hit squads. Unidentified bodies are then referred to as salvage victims. Completely opposite, right? Only in the Philippines. Now from Philippines, we go to Singapore. If you happen to visit Singapore, you may hear in their conversation the phrase graduate mothers. Does that refer to teenage moms who are about to graduate? No. In Singapore, graduate mothers pertains to well-educated married women who are given certain privileges in their country. So it is not a grammatical error on their part. Rather, it is accepted and understood in the context of Singapore English. And if you go to their hospital, you would be hearing the word missy. If the doctors need help, they call them missy. Now, what do you think is missy? Yeah, you're right. It means a nurse. So if your mom is a nurse, you call her missy. Alright, no, just kidding. Now this time, let's travel to Malaysia. If you're in Malaysia and you are so talkative, do not be shocked when they say that you are a popcorn. So if you don't want to be called a popcorn, you better shut up. Now if you're in Malaysia and you're craving for peanut, do not ask a stranger, where can I buy a peanut? Because probably they can't give you the answer. Instead, you say kacang. That means peanuts. Now enough of these varieties of English, because I am sure you are now confused, but if ever you still want to know more of them, well, you know the drill. You got to read our Week 3 module. Now, what's the point of knowing the different varieties of English? Well, according to Madrunio and Martin 2018, you have to be aware of and recognize intercultural communication, as you need to be sensitive to the people around you who belong to different cultural heritages and have their own linguistic identity. When you encounter them, you will be able to avoid misunderstanding, avoid communication breakdown, and avoid language barriers with less difficulty since you are exposed to their own language features. This way, you'll be able to enhance your personal and social interaction. This time, we move on to our next topic, which is language register. Crystal 2008, as cited in Madrunio and Martin 2018, defines register as a variety of English or language defined according to its use in social situations. Example, register of scientific, religious, formal English. In other words, register is a variety of language used for a particular purpose or in a particular communicative situation. Now, how do we know what register we're going to use? Well, the answer depends on the field, mode, and tenor. Alright, let me explain each of them. Field refers to the social setting and the communicative purpose in which the text is produced. Say, for example, a doctor is invited to speak to the community about the benefits of getting vaccinated. Of course, the doctor should try to explain it simply by using a register or words that the common people can understand. That means that he or she needs to adjust his language according to the setting where he or she is speaking. Next is the mode. This refers to how the text is constructed, particularly whether it is written or spoken. Now, if we go back to the situation mentioned earlier, since the doctor is invited to inform and convince the community to be vaccinated, he or she needs to understand that the mode of delivery that shall be used would obviously be spoken. Lastly is the tenor. This refers to the relationship between the author and the audience. Let us still use the doctor as our character here. Now, the language or words that the doctor uses when talking to his or her partner would be entirely different when he or she talks to his patient or colleagues. According to Montano Herman, language registers can be categorized into 5. We have static register, formal register, consultative register, casual register, and intimate register. We'll go to each one of them. First is the static register. This style of communications rarely or never changes. That's why some people would even say it's frozen in time and content. Example, the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lord's Prayer, the Preamble to the Philippines Constitution, or the Preamble to the U.S. Constitution, the Alma Mater, a bibliographic reference, and laws. For formal register, this language is used in formal settings and is one-way in nature. This use of language usually follows a commonly accepted format. It is usually impersonal and formal. A common format for this register are speeches, of course. Examples are sermons, rhetorical statements and questions, speeches, pronouncements made by judges, and formal announcements. Next, we go to consultative register. This is a standard form of communication. Users engage in a mutually accepted structure of communications. It is formal, and societal expectations accompany the users of this speech. And of course, it is professional discourse. For example, when you're talking to a stranger asking for a direction of a certain place. Another is communication between a superior and a subordinate, doctor and patient, lawyer and client, lawyer and judge, teacher and student, and of course, counselor and client, and a lot more. Number 4 is casual register. This is informal language used by peers and friends. Therefore, in this kind of register, slang, vulgarities, and colloquialisms are normal. This is otherwise known as group language. So, one must be member to engage in this register. So, for example, you're in the same team. You are buddies, you're friends, you're chatting to your crush, you're sending informal emails, blogs, and letters to friends. And the last but not the least is the intimate register. This type of register is private. It is reserved only for close family members or intimate people. Example, if you're husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, siblings, and parent and children. So those are our 5 types of register. So that ends our week 3 lesson. I hope you've learned something. So see you next week. Bye!